but for everybody in the district. That's our largest component. And so when you add 2% to that, that's a lot different than adding 2% to the cost of special education. There's just the magnitude of numbers when you use that 2%.
In real dollars, 2% on a $10,000 budget line is very different from 2% on an $80 million budget line, and that's like what becomes constricting for us to stay within that 2% box.
Again, I'll repeat, a 2% raise for us would approach nowhere near 2% in Illinois.
I think at our upcoming budget meetings, please come and please come to our board meetings when we present the budget, and we can show it on the slide so everybody can see what we're talking about and what we've been trying to work on.
Hi, Ralph Kyles again. I'm just curious how other districts are under the same financial constraints in the same environment. How come they're managing to get their contracts settled? Is it something unique about
All of the districts in Morris County that have settled have been under 2% with healthcare, and many with healthcare deductibles.
Or changes in policy. Since January of last year, absolutely. The average settlement in the state of New Jersey, if you ask your own EANJ reps, is under 1.8% with concessions.
Yep. Karen Martin Conover. I've been teaching at West Morris Mendham for 23 years. I'm teaching 427. And I don't want to prolong this evening any more than I think we've prolonged it, but I would simply like to say, I keep hearing from the board, average, but I think we've heard from this audience that we know, and I think you know too, this is a far and away above average school district, and we need to be recognized for that.
Sorry. One.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah.
Rebecca Bucelli, I'm a teacher over at West Morris Mendham. I'll be part of the group. But I had a question. You said that when you get to June 30th, any money that you had left disappears. Where does it go?
It's rolled over into the next fiscal year for tax relief.
What does that mean?
That means that if there's residual dollars left over, the statute requires that money then is rolled forward to the subsequent fiscal year for utilization for relief of tax levy, meaning tax dollars to our taxpayers.
So the tax increase does not go up as much as it might otherwise.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but any money not used is essentially credited
Yeah.
back to the
taxpayers.
Roy Elligan. So, I was aware of this, so by not offering us a settlement of any money you might have had budgeted for salary increase, you've lost?
No, we haven't lost it, it rolls to the next fiscal year.
Because we still have it.
As tax relief, as you build the next year's budget, it's tax relief. We're reducing taxes.
You still have it to spend if you need to.
Not once June 30th comes. Once that comes and it's cast, that it must be targeted for the following fiscal year for tax reduction.
That's why they look just for spending capital expenditures before the 30th, so you don't lose it. I was curious why we decided to resurface both tracks at a huge amount of money out of nowhere when track coach was even asked for it, when it wasn't really, I didn't think it was necessary in the midst of not having money for salary. So that was like $400,000.
It was. And the reason for that is that the district built, what's the name?
It's about $60,000.
Oh, 6, okay.
The reason for that is that the district puts money into a capital reserve account based on a facilities plan that it files with the state. The state mandates that each district credit money towards a capital reserve account so that it does things like keep its boilers intact, it's asbestos abated, and it's roof fixed. It's a separate pot of money. Most of the money that's in there was put in before we began the building addition. There were plans to use it at each school. Those plans were put aside as we continued with the renovations of each school, which was a different set of money. That was from the referendum. Problem with it is that last year, when the governor created a formula by which state aid was taken away from us, they used the amount of money that was in capital reserve as an amount of money that was against the district, credited against the district, that increased the amount of state aid that was withheld from us. Capital reserve money cannot be used for a settlement.
Right, I
It
understand.
cannot be used for salaries. So it was my recommendation to the board to begin spending that capital reserve money on things like a new reservoir for a well here at West Morris Central, some electrical upgrades at West Morris Bendham, some of the track upgrades, and other things that have been part of the state-approved facilities plan, because I'm afraid that if the governor seeks to reduce state aid one more time, capital reserve will be part of that formula. It cannot be used for any other purpose.
Okay, and I didn't think of you to start, I just wondered, I was happy to see it done, but when you mentioned about if you don't use it, you lose it. I was
Were
curious
you
as
aware
to
of the fact that it was used as part of the governor's formulation for taking away our state aid?
Right.
Were you aware of that?
What's that?
Were you aware of the fact that the amount of money that was in that account was used by the governor as part of the formulation for taking away our state
Yes,
aid last
yes.
year?
That's why you wanted to spend it.
Yes.
That's why, that was my question.
The budget and the negotiations for the new contract, they're not contingent on each other, right? Are they related somehow?
They're related, but they don't.
Okay, just because the fiscal dollars are not there because the budget wasn't passed is contributing to the fact that the negotiations for the contract are taking so long. Okay.
The budget will go on, negotiations will go on, what the negotiations end. The budget will go on because we have to teach public school children.
We're gonna have to do that every year.
Okay, and I guess, I apologize.
Not at
But, the budget failed last year, but the negotiations, or the teachers have been without a new contract for 2 years, right?
This is their second year.
Okay, so is there some other, like variable that I'm missing? Like,
Charlie, are you going for all A's this year?
no, I'm just asking, like, did the budget 2 years ago fail?
No, it did not.
Four in a row.
Budget passed.
But we've had 4% caps, they've only been able to go up so much. So we've had limits that we've had to observe.
And in
For several
mid-year,
years.
mid-year, the governor did withhold state aid.
So it's coming from the highest state level that there were.
And two, during the last contract negotiations, right after we settled, we had a cap imposed by Governor Corzine of 4%. Now, everybody in the room knows, or should know, that it wasn't exactly a hard cap, but that had already started putting fiscal constraints on all the districts in the state of New Jersey. So if we had settled for over 4%, which we had, in the last round, for the last contract, all of a sudden we are having a cap put on us after the fact of 4%. Do the math. It's hard to start. The money's got to come from somewhere. We have a set budget, and we've now had that reduced by the governor. So salary lines stayed at your 4.3%. We honored the contract.